Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Nathan Wangler and John Natale.
There she is. Okay. Hey, we did it. We did it. Yay. Round of applause for us.
Kudos to the home base.
New intro on episode 106 of Inside the Game, the podcast. Welcome back in, everybody. Nate Wangler alongside John Natale. Yes, we appreciate the mothership for putting that together for us. Thank you very much. And we welcome you guys back for another week of this show. We got a good one for you here today. We were talking a lot throughout the course of last week about some of the guests we plan on bringing on. We do have a star-studded lineup. Chef Brian Duffy expected to join us at some point here today. World-renowned chef, Philly sports fan. But I think first and foremost, he kind of combines the things that we all hold near and dear, which is number one, food, and number two, sports, because they're the things that, in my mind, make the world go round. But I think in a lot of ways, John Natale, this will be one of our more exciting conversations. But Peter already jumping into the mix here saying, Happy Maniac Monday.
Manic Monday.
Manic Monday. Whoops, Maniac. Where's my, I'm a maniac. Sorry,
Yeah,
Manic Monday.
Yeah, you're just throwing letters in there.
Just throwing stuff in there. Yeah, Manic Monday, as evidenced by the way I just read that right there. But we appreciate all you guys jumping into the conversation here today. John Natale, I know we had a busy weekend, a lot of things going on. I guess I'll start off on your end. How did this weekend go? I know you had some FC Pride stuff, but how did all that shake out?
Well, you know, my vacation to the sun has been well worthwhile. I now understand, and I'm dating myself on this one, the old video game, Super Mario 3. Remember that level where the sun was trying to kill you?
Yeah.
Now I know.
Uh-huh.
Now I know what old Mario was thinking on those hot lamps. My God, man. When you just sweat in the shower because the heat is getting into your house and you're just standing there like, why am I sweating in the shower? It's ridiculous. So let me complain about the weather first, just like I'm sure every other Midwesterner across our fine nation is doing. But it was good. FC Pride keeping their playoff hopes alive, brought in Wisconsin Conquerors FC 4-1 victory. And their final home match of the season for both the WPSL and MPSL squad. So we're done with them unless there's some by chance they could get into the playoffs, which would be pretty cool considering this their inaugural season in the MPSL. And they're still holding tight. They got Michigan Rangers and FC Milwaukee Turn ahead of them respectively in the Central States Conference. So very proud of them for what they've been able to accomplish this year. Head coach Jamie Gilmert, who we'll see later on this week with Tim Sinclair. That'll be a studded lineup on Thursday. And so that was good. Celebrated Father's Day yesterday, but no, it wasn't yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, what was yesterday? It was my fiance celebrating Father's Day the week after. Okay, never mind. So yesterday.
Belated Father's Day.
I'm like, I knew she was over there for some reason yesterday. But was able to actually watch yesterday.
Yes.
At noon at the Link. And nobody there. Didn't expect it, though. Not at 12 o'clock on a Sunday at Lincoln Financial. Nobody was going out in that heat, boy, to watch international teams. But Juventus 4-1 over Wydad AC, moving to 2-0 in their respective group stage in the Club World Cup, which I'm super happy about. And lots of good soccer yesterday, man. Not just on my level with the Club Cup, but I know with you. I know you were real hyped about USA going 3-0 yesterday against Haiti. And yeah, man, just good weekend. I know for yourself with the Whitecaps, you celebrated a spectacular night on Saturday, aka Star Wars night. I know you always look forward to that. I know that was packed house, even despite the heat, but a good time for you there. And I just want to know, what was the turnout yesterday?
Turnout was nearly 5,000 at the game yesterday. Your 2 o'clock game. It just doesn't make any sense some days. And here's what I'll say. And it's something that I am very blessed about having. And it's because when you have a minor league team, and this isn't the same everywhere you go, but when you have a minor league team that's in the same state as your major league team, And with where the Tigers are now, with where they have kind of a log jam in the minor league system, because they have the best minor league system in all of baseball and they can't really move anybody anywhere, it means you have something that you have a collection of players that realistically shouldn't be at that level, but are at that level. And they're playing in front of people who are actual fans of the major league team. Right. So even when it's as hot as it is out, a lot of people are still making reasons, one reason or another, that they're going to come out anyways. And I got to give credit to the organization because they actually thought ahead about this, and they had coolers, they had water, they had stuff all over the place. They made sure to take care of people. It still blows my mind, though, that some don't remember to drink water, right? Don't remember to do those basic things, because it's like, guys, you have
beer, man. Beer.
to.
There's plenty
That
of water in beer.
liquids.
It's not like it
Come
would
on, man.
dehydrate you or anything.
Right.
I mean,
Just some liquids,
yeah,
that's just whatever.
well,
But
it's all going in the same spot.
but no, great. Star Wars was amazing. Again, for copyright issues, couldn't use the term lightsaber, which I thought was funny. So we called them expandable glow sticks, because they didn't have apparently all the things they needed to be considered lightsabers, but we all knew what they were. So light show, fireworks, all that other stuff. Now they're on the road in Lake County, but I do want to get into this here today because I know with Brian.
Where
Duffy,
are they going again?
What did I say?
Where are they going again?
Lake County, Ohio. Where did I?
East. No, you said it right. I just want to make sure you know what buzzsaw you're coming into.
Oh, okay.
This week on the corner in East Lake, Ohio.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not the most riveting of places to visit.
No. Bring the squad car. Make sure you have the roll cages on the windows. Just be safe.
Yep. So, well, speaking of it, since we're getting into the food conversation, I will there is one place, and it's the thing that about the Midwest League that is so charming, because whatever city you go to, man, there's always one place, one restaurant, one bar, something else that you're like, you're going to make a beeline for that one place when you go there. In Dayton, they have an unbelievable, I think it's Thai food. They have a place that's right by the stadium that's just immaculate. Lansing's Lansing. I mean, they got a few places. But there's other examples. But when you go to Lake County, Ohio, you know what I'm saying next?
Starts with a B.
Biagio's. I believe I mentioned it on the show already. Pizza, donuts, ice cream, and coffee, all in the same trip. It's miraculous.
Biagio's is just an extension of Walmart. You can go in and order a couple donuts, get your oil changed in the back, buy a garden hose in the back if you want to. Let's go to the front counter. Yeah, I got some milk. I got I got some antifreeze. I got some lawn supplies. Yeah, why don't you go throw me a slice of pizza while you're at it too?
It reminds me a little bit of like up north Michigan in a lot of ways. So I got a place in my heart for Lake County, Ohio. Yeah, it does remind me of the Mitten State a little bit. Part of the Frontier League, some good entertainment. There's just great random baseball towns all over the United States, and it's something that I love, at least as a part of the experience. But it leads me into, and I know we like to sometimes open up with our questions outside of the game, and I think this parlays itself well into what we're going to be talking about once we do get Brian on. But I got to ask you, John Natale, top 3 pizza cities in the United States, because I am very staunch.
Well, there's a preference, so I'm going to come out and say it. I'm a pizza snob.
Okay.
Anybody will tell you left and right that I will.
We're going to start doing pizza tours.
Pie, yes, I will call it pie depending on which region I am in.
All right.
But to be honest, man, it's so rough. So here's let me try to break this down strategically for the fine folk watching at home. I was in a very humble spot in Cleveland, Ohio, because I was right smack dab in the middle of New York and Chicago, 2 of the premier soccer cities in the United States. But you can also throw New Haven, Connecticut on it as well. However, New Haven, to me, I eliminated because it's too thin. It's too thin. I'm not a big fan of the real thin cracker crust pub style tavern pizza. Just never have been. The edge to edge thing, I get it. it seems that you're getting more bang for your buck, but you're losing out on sauce, you're losing out on crust, you're losing out on just a beefy slice of pizza.
Yeah, fold it.
Right. Well, see, that's another thing.
Yeah.
So let's focus on New York City. So New Haven would be third, simply because of its credibility. They do put a lot of pride in their pizzas. There's not a lot of fast or chain places in New Haven, up in the Connecticut area, or any place up there. So they do it. They know how to do it. It's an East Coast pizza. Goes to New York City. Now I'm going 3-1. I know you go 1, 2, 3. I go with 3, 2, 1. New York City would be second. And New York City holds second for me, not because the Neapolitan, which is the big manhole cover pizzas that have the thin crust that you can fold it, and whether you like it where it's crispy, whether you like it to where it bends, whatever, everybody has their preference. There's 9 billion pizza places in New York City / New Jersey City, right across the river. So you have your fair share of what you want to get. You can find a good pie anywhere in New York. If anybody's asked me which one is my favorite, I don't have an answer for you. But the reason that it's number 2 for me is Sicilian pizza. I love a thick, airy, crispy Sicilian pizza with just the right amount of sauce, a good provolone mozzarella, white cheddar blend. Yes, I'm throwing the white cheddar out there for you, folks. You can throw that on there for me. Little fresh basil on the top.
All right.
I'm good with that.
Oh.
But because, man, because I like the mass of a pizza, Chicago's number 1 for me. Because when we say pub style in the cuts or whatever, there's enough crust. It's got a thicker crust, not where it's flimsy, but you can hold the piece and it's going to hold for you. Now, if we start talking about deep dish pizza, I call that pizza cake, because you're only getting through 1 or 2 pieces for that, and then you're done. And you feel miserable. It's delicious. God, to have the fresh sausage on the bottom and to have the mozz on the bottom, so the sauce doesn't seep through, and you got that real crispy cornmeal crust. Oh my gosh, to heaven. But once you get to 2 pieces, you're like, this was a bad choice. Boy,
whatever else I wanted to get done today is not happening.
Forget it, because I'm
over.
Sleepy and I'm just tired. It's a workout to eat those things, but I'm going Chicago pub cut tavern, thicker pizza. It's got to be the fresh ingredients. Don't put any drop sausage on there. Don't pick pre-bagged vegetables or whatever, or canned whatnot. You just give me all the your fresh sauce, a little spicy. I'd like it a little spicy on the soft side. Give me the same cheese mixture as you would in New York, but give me some fresh sausage, maybe some diced chopped pepperoni. If you want to throw a little jalapeno on inside my nose, get it running. Just load the ball up and just wipe my nose. Go right ahead. So, yeah, I'm going Chicago 1, New York 2, New Haven / Connecticut, basically 3.
All right. Well, I'll agree with you on your number.
To give you kudos, I'll give Detroit an honorable mention.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I don't, and that's the reason I like to speak on what I know, and that's why, to piggyback off of what you're saying, I've never actually had pizza in Connecticut or Connecticut style pizza.
Okay.
Now I know that obviously New Haven has their name on the map,
Mhm.
and now I'm all of a sudden thinking about we have to have some sort of pizza segment on here, because you are a connoisseur. I can tell you're a connoisseur just based on the way you're talking. And so that would be an interesting segment. This is the way I'll break it down, right? Because I like to speak in what I know. And Detroit style is very good. And I got to give JT a little bit of credit, because he helped with, he showed me a few different places in Detroit that actually kind of opened my eyes a little bit to the square, the different, the way it's shaped, obviously the different types of cheese they use.
The white cheddar.
Yeah.
Caramelized on the outside.
Yes.
Yep.
Very good. So here's my breakdown. The first one, and I think this would be interesting to talk about once Brian if he does get on the show, is growing up, I was out in Philly quite a bit, or Philly area. Now, not necessarily the city limits itself, but there is a little town just outside of Philadelphia. It's where the Amish and the Mennonites still roam free. It is Elverson, bless you, Elverson, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And she used to train horses. She used to train horses for jockeys, and so she had her like a sprawling land. She had a bunch of horses. I mean, it was beautiful out there. And so we would visit quite a bit, and, got my Philly sports experience, got to see Roy Halladay. I'm sure you remember that name, the Doc, when he was playing for Philly.
Bless his heart.
In his last year with that team. So there's a lot of great memories out that direction. But to your point about the thicker style crust, it's the same thing with Philly. Thick, chunky tomato sauce, a sprinkle of Parmesan on it as well. That's something that I grew up on. I mean, between that and the Philly cheesesteaks, and my uncle who was out there was really into classic cars. So there would always be a car show or something else we would go to. So it was Phillies, the thick pizza, Philly cheesesteaks, and classic car shows anytime we went out there. So that was my Philly experience.
Not a bad trip.
That's a good combo right there.
That's nice.
I saw a lot of good stuff out there. So, and if there was like a third city, obviously Detroit is that's home. It's Michigan. In baseball, my dad kind of raised me as a Cubbies fan, just growing up on the likes of Pat Hughes and going to games. And obviously they didn't have lights on the stadium until whenever, so he always grew up on day games. He kind of passed that down to me, but Philly was always in the mix. And so a lot of respect. I really actually love Philly. I think it's underrated. I think sometimes it gets buried with some of the other cities that are towards the top of that list, because I agree with you on the New York side. I don't want to have to fold my pizza. Okay, I just don't want to have to do that. I get it. It's an East Coast thing. It is what it is. The thin crust, it goes down easier, to your point. But, like, is it something that I'm going to go out of my way to get if I have the choice? Probably not. Number 2, I'll put Detroit on that list, as you were talking about. Just gained a lot of respect. There's a lot of good places out there. The ingredients you were mentioning are really important. That's something that I think, and just the style of pizza is really good. But number 1 on my list, I got to go with Chicago. I have to go with Chicago, and not just Chicago. I'm talking Giordano's, and I'm talking what you were talking about with the pizza cake, okay? But it's pizza pie, and it is, I realize you got to work for it, okay? I realize you actually have to put in a little bit of effort to eat pizza from Chicago, especially if it's the pie style. But, man, I like going through multiple layers. I think it tastes delicious, and I think it's no different than your favorite fast food place. You just have to know going into it that whatever else it is that you want to do the rest of that day is not going to get done. You gotta section out a piece of your schedule in order to eat that pizza from Chicago. So I'll go with Chicago number 1 on this one.
I'm saying we, like I got some board of directors over here, and we're listening.
We appreciate your input,
statement. Right? Yeah, he's got it, guys. Don't worry about it. Just
we're good.
We'll get after the show.
We'll be all right.
But the thing with when you talk about the deep dish style pizza is you have to make, there is no it's good or it's okay. It's either good or bad because of how much you have to put into it. And I think with New York, being there, growing up there, I mean, I was born in Secaucus, which is right across the river off the Hudson. And I was in and out of the city all the time up in northern. Hey, look who just popped in the chat.
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
World-renowned chef.
Yeah.
Brian Duffy joining us shortly here on
Inside us at
the Game.
The perfect time, didn't he? The perfect time.
So we're talking about, and Chef, I'd love to get your opinion on this.
Yeah, let's bring him right in because, you started off. Yeah, tell him about where you had that honorable mention and what you were doing, and then maybe he can give us some insight. But let's get him on in here. We've been waiting for this. So is
Without
everybody
further
else.
ado, the man of the hour, the man himself, Chef Brian Duffy, world-renowned chef.
Yeah,
someone who is
looking good, my friend. Looking good.
How are you?
I am great. Everybody
over my head.
So happy to have to my, well, it would be, I guess, my right, considering, but it probably left for everybody else. But Chef Brian Duffy, entrepreneur, dad, on-air personality, soccer, rugby fan, Philadelphia native. My God, we could go until 2027 looking at your list of accolades, Chef. But welcome to Inside the Game. Nathan Wangler to my side, John Natale. You and I are familiar with each other from our radio days back in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And so we are right in the middle of pizza conversation.
Okay.
And we want to, because Nate actually brought up Philadelphia as a very underrated pizza city.
I agree.
And hopefully you can back that. We went down our top 3 cities. I went New Haven 3, New York/New Jersey 2, and then Chicago 1. But Nate came out with a great story about when he was younger, he'd go to a suburb or an outskirts of Philadelphia, go visit grandpop, go watch Phillies games,
right,
go in the sprawling landscape, but then go in the city and get dynamic pizza. So let's just hit right off the bat, man. Give us a pizza place. Give us your
first off, what was your outside of Philadelphia city? Where was it?
You might know the name Elverson, Pennsylvania.
Elverson.
Yes, very like small little town. West.
Yeah, that's like west of Philly.
Yeah. And I don't remember how far out, to be honest with you, but I know they claim Philly, or that's what it felt like whenever I was there. But not in the city at all.
Look, my one of my best friends, his Instagram is just outside of Philly, and he grew up in Scranton, 2 hours north. Because he's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna tell like I did an event in Vermont this weekend. Somebody's like, where are you from? And I said, I live in Philly, and she's like, where? I said, well, I just moved to Westchester. She's like, that's not Philly.
That's not.
And I was like, you know what? Let me just stab you with a cheesesteak now. Like, give me a break, lady.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Anyway. A little bit.
Anyway, I'll tell you, I think Philly's got awesome pizza, man. Philly's got great stuff. Look, we're always known for our cheesesteaks. We're always known for our pretzels. And the worst part about that is I think right now we have 4 of the top 10 restaurants in the country, but we're still fighting over who's got the best damn cheesesteak. Okay.
Against who? Against who?
What do you mean?
Who's competing?
Between yourselves.
Oh, no. But I mean, it's like anytime we have 4 of the top 10 restaurants in the country right now, but people are still talking about like, yeah, well, when I get there, where do I get a good cheesesteak?
Oh, okay.
So
I got you.
Anywhere I come from, I hear about the cheesesteak, and everybody wants to know where the best cheesesteak is. Funny enough, one of the best cheesesteaks in the city also comes from one of the greatest places to get some pizza, which is Angelo's, which is just it's on 9th Street. It's just a little bit kind of above the really popular section of 9th Street, which is the Italian market. But it's a great spot, and they do an unbelievable job. Or if you want a pizza with a slice as big as your chest, I'll tell you, man, I still like a Lorenzo's.
Nate, you're writing this down, right? You're taking this chat.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. That's exactly what I said.
Taking notes here.
Well, John, now that we know that you're not very good at email, I'll just text you these spots. Yeah, I'll throw that out.
Here we go. Now it starts. It's Monday. My man came right out after me, butcher blade and everything. Holy
absolutely. I was just in Chicago, and I did have some good pizza while I was there. But I'll tell you, I went to a place in Vermont. I was in Burlington this weekend, and I had a pizza from a place called Fernario's. Hold on, I have to find it. It was awesome. I got their mushroom pie without the truffle oil because truffle oil sucks. And
overrated? Is truffle oil overrated?
Well, it's not that it's overrated. It's just overused.
There we go.
First off, it's not like if you're going to get a true truffle oil, which is a pressed oil that comes out of it, as opposed to an essence or something like that, that's a different story. Like the first pressing is a wonderful addition to something in very, very small amounts. People are like, yeah, truffle oil on top of my cheesesteak. Let's go. And it ruins the whole process. But I had a wonderful, I had an unbelievable mushroom pie that was out of this world. It was super delicious. And I was in Vermont.
All right. Okay.
Now I got to find the name, don't I? Now I got to
go. I'm still
got a growing list over here.
The fact that you put cheesesteak and pizza in the same 4 walls.
Well, it's called a Philly taco.
Now, I've never had a Philly taco, and all my times going out that direction, I can't say I've ever had a Philly taco.
Yeah, you wrap a cheesesteak in a piece of pizza, and you eat it.
Wow. God bless this country. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, it's some of the shit that I see. I don't know if we can curse on here or not.
Go ahead.
No,
Go
yeah,
ahead. Knock yourself out.
It's some of the things that I see across the country. You know, I fly 140,000 miles a year, so I'm constantly seeing these new pizza spots or these new like food trends popping up all over, and it's really a shame because the updated version of food that we have now is all novelty. It's all like, can I get on guys' grocery games? You know, can I get this sandwich to become a viral sandwich? Which kind of sucks because most of these things, like, hey, I had a 6-patty burger the other day with a mac and cheese bun, and I'm like, and now you're dead. So enjoy it. You got that Instagram picture though, didn't you? Like, I think we're losing quality food over a picture of something to put on Instagram.
Jeff, I got to ask you this because being in Philly a couple times, one thing that I experienced for the first time when we talk about cheesesteaks, and that's how synonymous with Philly.
Yeah.
But the pork and the broccoli Rob sandwich. My God.
Come on. It's the best sandwich ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
Best. And you know what sucks is a lot of these places used to do broccoli Rob and they got away from broccoli Rob and now they're doing spinach because spinach is easier and cheaper. The broccoli Rob, when it's cooked perfectly with sharp provolone, crushed chili peppers, extra virgin olive oil, put on the side of the roll with a sharp provolone. Eliminate the bullshit provolone that people are putting on sandwiches. It's got to be it's got to be dry. It's going to be crackly when you put it on there. And then garnish it with a long hot or a banana pepper or pickled cherry peppers on top. And my inner fat guy, I'm a fat guy outside as well, is just falling in love. So,
Chef, I wanted to ask you about this part of your story, and obviously there's a lot of things that we could cover, but your involvement in bar rescue, I think is really cool in looking at all the different things that you've done. And one of my favorite, oddities of all of these different places and all these different restaurants is what makes them unique, what food item really sets them aside. And really depending on where you go and what part of the country, there's a different answer to that. But with me being involved, I've been in minor league baseball for quite some time. So I work in the Detroit Tigers minor league system.
Nice.
I call games for their high A affiliate here in West Michigan. And obviously Detroit's known for the Coney dogs and they got Detroit style pizza out there. But the one thing that our ballpark had, and Man vs. Food came out for it years and years ago. It was known as the Fifth Third Burger. This was a 5,000 calorie burger.
Jesus.
It was so big, it could only fit in a pizza box.
Right.
And if you finished it in 7 innings, that's what they gave you. That was the runway, right? And even some people couldn't do it there. You got your name on a plaque. You got your name on the side. And I mean, it had, I think, 5 burgers. It had cheese. I think it had chili in there. It had a bunch of different things.
Right.
What is have you ever done a food challenge? And if so, no, you're not into that. Well, what's the most unique food item that you've seen from the places that you've gone?
Okay, I'll address the food challenge. I can't eat like that.
That's fair.
I can't eat like that. Like my insides just can't handle it. And I'm friends with the some of the hosts that do that stuff. And look, it's kind of ruined. Like, look at Adam Richman, I mean, he just had to stop doing it after a while. It's really tough to do. Yep. But I do have friends that are like, I'm going to go and eat the old 96er,
reference.
Good
reference.
It's just not something that I can do because my body just can't handle doing that. Like I host a 4th of July hot dog eating contest in Fort Myers that we do every year. It's been for the VFW the last couple of years. This year it's for autism, for a group called Family Initiative. And I think the most hot dogs that got ate last year was like 13. But then you look at Joey Chestnut, who's throwing back 80 to 100. I mean, it's like my body can't handle that stuff. So I don't do challenges. Ugh. I will eat some of the novelty stuff because I have a very weird relationship with restaurants. If it's a chain restaurant, I don't go to chains. But if it's like a multi-unit restaurant, say there's like a group that has 4 of them, I only go to the original location. And I want to try what they're known for. I want to try their chicken sandwich, their cheesesteak, their whatever it is. The novelty stuff is super fun and I love it, but I don't get involved in any of the challenge stuff. It's just not a world that I live in. I want to go out later. I don't want to go to bed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's exactly what happened. I got home and I was in a coma 5 seconds later. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And especially, look, I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but when you think about the amount of stuff that goes into that, you have an 8-ounce burger. An 8-ounce burger is a massive burger. You put 5 of them on there with slices of cheese in between each one, and then you add all that additional stuff to it, like, call the plumber. Call the
Chef,
plumber.
something that it's so great that you being from Philly, Chef Brian Duffy, make sure you check him out, all your social platforms, chefbrianduffy.com for all of his new projects. He's got a lot going on, so be sure to check him out. So we are right in the heart of just a great time for soccer here in the States. And we've got the Club Gold Cup. We've got the Gold Cup. We've got MLS. You got Philadelphia SC sitting atop the Eastern Conference and MLS. And just all the youth organizations and all these other leagues going on right now. And you being the food guy, hands up and down, as you sit in the city that's coming off a Super Bowl win. Yeah. You have the Phillies who are atop the NL East. The 76ers, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And then you have Philadelphia SC. And you also have the Flyers.
They play.
Yeah, I mean,
they have a team.
But they're there.
We got gritty. We got gritty.
Yeah, you do. You got gritty. So there's something to look forward to.
Best mascot city. I'll give you that.
I think something I want to ask you, Chef, and we'll kind of drift off the food thing. But when you think about a Eagles tailgate, you think about a Phillies tailgate when they're in the playoffs. Good chance unless Bryce Harper comes back, is he going to? Is not? We'll see. But if they're in the World Series, you think about these places where you tailgate from. But just yesterday, you had my guys right in the heart of your city at the Link playing Wydad, 4-1 victors. God bless their hearts. But if you were to pick an American, not a national soccer cuisine, but an American soccer cuisine that you could make at a soccer tailgate at Lincoln Financial, let's just say that the MLS Cup happens in Philadelphia and or around. There's playing in the semis and Philadelphia SC hosts Columbus or something to go to the final. What would be a food item that would encapsulate an American soccer audience?
I mean, I think, what's funny is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what sport. Philly is always going to throw down when it comes to food, no matter what it is. I mean, you look at like Matty Groark right now from the Groarky Boys Barbecue. He goes out there and he crushes the tailgate scene. Crushes. If you guys follow him, it's Groarky, Groarky Boys Barbecue. Look at the stuff that he's doing. His tailgates are mind-blowing. Okay? And because he does a lot of barbecue and he does a lot of that stuff. No matter what happens in Philly, no matter whether it's a concert, whether it's the Pope, whatever it is, there's going to be a tailgate involved in it. And I'm telling you, if for me to get out there and do it, it would absolutely be a roast pork sandwich that it says Philadelphia more than soccer. Because I think that for us in Philadelphia, the pride of being from Philadelphia encapsulates everything that has to do with sports. Mm-hmm. So when you say, like, what would I do soccer wise to make it that way? I would absolutely have to say it's either going to be a cheesesteak or it's going to have to be something like that. Like if I get out there, and if you look at my Instagram right now, I've got a whole campaign going on where I'm wearing a 30-pound griddle on my chest.
Told you, Nate. I told you.
I saw that. Yeah.
And they're going viral. It's called Meat Man. The last one that we did, I was on Santa Monica Pier feeding a crew that was on break from In-N-Out for the day. Okay. But whenever we do anything, man, I mean, I'm telling you, Philadelphia just throws down with food, and I can't pick one. I can't pick one sport that the food would be associated with. I just have to say that no matter what, if you can throw down a great roast pork sandwich or a great cheesesteak at a tailgate, then that to me is an awesome way to do things.
So if we take the show on location to Philly, you come out there and be the meat man for us?
Well, you got to talk to my agent about that one. We actually got to talk to Yum Crunch. Yum Crunch is our multimedia company. You know what? That would be a boatload of fun. I'd love to do something with you guys. If that happens and you guys come here, forget Meat Man. I'll come out as me and we'll do something super fun.
That's fine by me, man. Yeah. That's fine by me.
All for that.
Because I'll tell you what, man, like it's so funny that you nailed the broccoli rabe part of it. It's so important. Like that pork sandwich, that roast pork sandwich, I feel is more iconic to Philadelphia than the cheesesteak is. In my mind, that's how I grew up, though.
Well, we, across the country, it's always Salangino.
Yeah.
I mean, just right across. Okay, it's great. It's a great novelty, and I'm sure they make a fantastic product. Don't want everything to do with that. But to me, being in Philly, growing up in Jersey, and being on that East Coast, that first time, when you almost pass out, not because it's heavy food, but just because of the taste, and you're like, where did this magnificent jewels and rubies sandwich come from? And you've never heard of it, and you find it in a market. That's where we found it. Was one of those like in Cleveland, we have the West Side Market where there's all these different lights of kiosks and deli counters and all these type of things. And then there's just one sitting in the back, and I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, oh, well, I like white meat, and I like broccoli, the way that it looked in the case and everything. I'm like, there's stuff on there. We got to try this. My man loaded it up, and that was it. It was one bite and done. I forgot what a cheesesteak was.
That's the way those things. Do you know what's funny is the first time that my mother's from Euclid. And so I grew up in the summers, not for, we'd go out there for a week or whatever and hang out with my parents or my grandparents and my cousins and all that. The first time I ever had a gyro was in Cleveland.
Yes.
Like the first time I ever, and it's so funny how I equate what I remember from a city based off of the food.
Usually,
and it's like I remember, what was it called? The Banks or the Riverfront or
Flats?
The Flats. Yeah, the Flats. I love Ohio, man. I have clients that have an awesome Irish pub in between the Bengals and the Reds Stadium, down on the Banks in Cincinnati.
Okay,
which is an unbelievable spot. But
what is the name of that? Because I'm only an hour and a half from.
That's called the Red Leprechaun.
Red Leprechaun. Love that.
Yeah.
There you go, Nate. There you go, Nate.
Hey now.
Dublin, he bought a bar, an iconic bar. This is a crazy story. My client flew to Dublin, bought the bar. The bar was shipped over to Cleveland or to Cincinnati. They rebuilt the bar inside of it. The night that we opened, this guy comes in and he said, "Hey, I'm a big fan of yours from Bar Rescue. I made you a cutting board." He made me this awesome cutting board. He was a woodworker. And he said, "But I also want to let you know that I used to drink at this bar with my father when I grew up in Ireland." How about that? Like how great. Opening night, we met this guy. Super, super cool. But we do great food. We have pasties down there. If you guys know what pasties, it's like an empanada. But we fill them. We do a Cincinnati chili one that we do with cheese and onions and chili and potatoes all on the inside. We have great food down there, man. And we've got a great new chef who's taken over the whole place. She's killing it. She's doing an unbelievable job.
Well,
but anyway,
there's destination Natale for you. That's awesome.
Come on down.
Chef Brian Duffy and with my partner, Nathan Wangler, Inside the Game podcast on the National Soccer Network. Chef, going back to what we talked about, making specific food for soccer. So one thing I want to say, because Philly is such a passionate sports city, and we look at the time that the MLS Cup, we're going to shift to soccer here.
Yeah.
That when that time rolls around, you're looking late October, early November for when the MLS Cup is going to happen. Now, you're mid-season for a reigning Super Bowl champion who everybody is a diehard Eagles fan there. I mean, they eat, drink, breathe, sleep that team there.
Man, they're exploding.
And then you're going to have the Phillies, which is probably number 2 on the landscape, somewhere in the playoffs at that point when all this stuff starts to happen. Would Philadelphia SC even, and be as completely honest as you want, because that's what we're looking for here, would it even touch the sensories of any Philadelphia sports fan out there if Philadelphia SC were to make a run for this, for the MLS Cup in that part of the year?
Dude, I'm telling you, I think they're making a big move. I mean, we're hearing more and more about it all the time. I'm listening to the local morning shows and stuff like that, and they're mentioning them. So it's we're not just a Philly Flyer, Sixer, Eagle town. To hear about the Union and the other stuff that's going on, there's a conversation. And it's conversations. I'm seeing more jerseys in grocery stores. I'm seeing more jerseys in the Wawa. I'm seeing more jerseys around. So soccer's really growing. I mean, my sister is a part of the Hooligans. She's up in the nosebleed seats hanging out with everybody and loves going to games. My sister's a 56-year-old woman who loves going to games, and she loves hanging out with the crew. And I think they're called the Creepers. or the hooligans or something like that. But those are her, like, she's got a bumper sticker on the back of her car. And, you know, I mean, it's becoming a bigger sport, and it's great to watch. As a guy who grew up, you know, in the 70s, I started playing soccer when I was 4 years old. I started playing rugby when I was 14. Like to any of those sports were always massive, but they never got the play. And now we're really seeing it happen. And when it comes down to the union and some of the other stuff that's happening, they're a big play right now. They're fully being considered and talked about amongst the big four that are out there.
Wow.
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah. Part of creating that experience is what you do and what you have experience in, which is food, which is being able to bring the people out and have them know that if they come out, they're going to be treated to some of the best food. They're going to be treated to an experience that they love to have. And that's the biggest thing. And we talk about it all the time on this show. The game itself is important, but what's even more important is the atmosphere, right? And that's something that, you know, Europe really has down packed in a lot of places. And it's something that we're trying to emulate more and more here in the United States. I find it interesting that you talk about the pride of the Philly people and how much pride they take in being from there. You guys get a bad rep in terms of being a sports town. And I know this, right?
Yeah,
right. You're right. And you can't paint with that broad stroke for everybody. And I know because I've been there and I've seen it and I know how passionate it is. And that's something that I think really doesn't sit well with people, because you're right. If you just highlight a groups of people, you're going to make an entire city look bad. But there is a certain level of passion and togetherness that just the city of Philly has when it comes to their teams. And it's something that's marvelous. And I love to watch play out.
I'm like tingly right now. Like,
and that's so my question is, because if there's one thing that brings people together, right, in a world where there are so many things that tear us apart, it's food. It's food. Food is the one thing that can always find a way to bring cultures, different types of people together. How much of an impact have you seen on that side? And I find it interesting because in reading up on your story, you talked about how early in your career, maybe the ego was a little bit too much. And as you learned and as you grew, learning how to connect with people was the thing that really helped your career explode. How much of an impact have you seen in terms of what food can do for a community in those sports scenes?
You know, just watching the tailgate scene happen amongst games, the level of food that is put out is mind-blowing. It is so above and beyond. You know, we used to grill sausage or you know, do sausage and pepper sandwiches and stuff like that. Like, that's the type of stuff that I remember seeing when I was growing up as a kid. And these were days when, you know, I mean, my father was a teacher, my mother was a nurse, my father taught at Catholic school. You know, he made zero money. So the idea of going to a game was so unbelievably special to us. And I remember walking through the tailgate, and what I used to see was just drunk assholes. But now the level of food that people put out is mind-blowing. Looking at the game, first off, looking at the apparatus that they're bringing with them is amazing. You know, I mean, I look at guys that are pulling in with full-blown, you know, 10, 15-foot smokers that are taking up parking spots. They're bringing tents. They're bringing chairs. They're bringing tables, utensils. They're bringing every single thing that they need with them. And then they're putting out a mind-blowing spread on top of it. And it's taken to the point where, you know, I remember going to a game, and maybe if it was a 7 o'clock game at night, you know, you might get down there at 4 o'clock. Now we're talking about a 7 o'clock game, and people are getting down there at 7, 8, 9 a.m. You know, and they're really picking their spots, and they've got their spots. Like my buddy, every time he goes down, the Gorky boys, every time he goes down, he's got a spot, man. You know exactly where you're going to go and where you're going to find him. You know who else you're going to find there? You're going to find Jason Kelsey walking through there. You're going to find some of these players during different days that are walking through these guys' tailgates, and they're just building that culture again. You know, and I think that to kind of pull this back into a little bit of the soccer stuff, you know, we all grew up. You know, I mean, especially if you went to Catholic school, like soccer was something that we all did. But now to watch the pride that Philadelphia has over its soccer team is a really cool thing. You know, I mean, first off, the name of it is the Union. That's a great thing to talk about. And then if you want to go a little bit further, we get a horrible rap when it comes to fans. We're just we're a blue collar town, man. And when you watch what we've done and our teams, like somebody's like, way to go Eagles. And I'm like, shut your mouth. talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I watched the Super Bowl this year. First off, as a football fan, I was pissed because if I paid $1,000 to go and watch a game, that was a horrible game. As an Eagles fan, I didn't want anybody to say a goddamn word. Stop talking about it because we're known for kind of shit in the bed in the last quarter. We're the ones that are known for making that mistake, for dropping the ball. You know, we're either going to come in grandiose fashion like we did the year against the Patriots, or we're going to come out in this like we're just going to coast through a game like we had. But the entire city sat on the edge of the seat waiting for somebody to make a mistake. You know, waiting for something to happen, no matter how far ahead we were in the game. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody was cheering until that whistle blew. And then you talk about what happens going into the streets, the amount of pride being into the city. And I talk to my girls. My girls are 24 and 21. They're big sports fans. They love going to the city. They love going to the parades. And the media just scares you. They scare me. You know, I tell my girls, like, hey, be careful where you are. Make sure, like, I've got rules that I've set, not rules, suggestions that I've always told my girls when they go out. Share locations no matter when you go into the city. I want to know this stuff. Not as a helicopter parent, but as a father of two beautiful girls, I want my girls to be safe. They have nothing but love to say when they come back from these things. The people were unbelievable. People are sharing beers. People are having fun. They're sharing joints. They're doing their thing. It's that one guy who shoots a gun into the air that makes the mistake and that the media picks up on and says, shooting in Philly again. Yeah, we're going to grease our damn poles. Yeah, they're going to grease the poles. Why wouldn't they? Like, we climb them. Mm-hmm. You know, they're going to climb the poles. Has nobody ever climbed a pole in another city? Have you ever been to a soccer match in Spain, for God's sakes?
Right.
What they do when they win? Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, I think it's just easy to target Philly because we're Philly. I mean, look at our mascot, Gritty. You know, one of my favorite things that he's ever done, they did a promo with him a couple years ago. It was National Cheesesteak Day. And he's out on the street giving cheesesteaks. And this guy was like, no, I'm okay. I don't want a cheesesteak. And there's footage of him throwing the cheesesteak at the back of the head of the guy who walked away who didn't want the cheesesteak. Like, that's Gritty. The first night that they unveiled Gritty, I was at the Flyers game. This was awesome, dude. And they spun a wheel. And on the wheel, it said like Gritty signature. And there's this like beautiful 22-year-old girl standing there, you know, in like a tank top and a pair of shorts at a Flyers game, because we all wear shorts to the Flyers games. And he literally walks over to her. He puts his hand on her head, writes Gritty on her forehead and pushes her. And the whole arena went completely nuts. Like, that's Gritty. We are Gritty fans. We're passionate. We're proud. We love we love our sports teams, man. And we live and die by them. I've known that my entire 53 years of life, that is something. And I was never a massive sports fan, but I love the pride of watching the Eagles. I love feeling that pride of watching them and the camaraderie. I walked through the airport the other day. I have a 215 hat on. I was in Chicago. Like 50 people. Go Birds.
That's awesome.
Let's go.
It's June. We're not even playing right now, but they saw the 215 on my hat and it was Go Birds. It's just a great camaraderie. And we're really not that bad, man. We're really nice people and we make great food in the tailgate.
You did throw snowballs at Santa, but that's another discussion.
57 years ago.
I know, but I mean, Santa's forever. You're talking to several years ago. Santa's been here forever.
He remembers, man.
You want me to start talking about the Browns and your lack of ability to play a football game?
Hey! You're preaching to the choir, my friend. You are preaching to the choir. I'm one of the realists. I know we stink. You don't have to tell me that.
I feel so bad for my mother. Like, you know, she was an Irish Catholic woman who was raised in Euclid, Ohio by Frank and Mary Baxter in the classic Euclid, like Cape Cod looking house, the whole 9 yards. And she gets to Philly and marries my father, this Irish Italian, my grandmother, you know, who is one of 7 sisters and 1 brother, you know, and she gets thrown into this mix of Philadelphia, and all she ever wanted was the Browns to like win a game. You know, like it's so funny to watch. She's still
See how you say that though? Like for the Browns to win a game, not to win
game.
the Super Bowl. It's just a game.
my
Maybe a couple.
Cleveland cousins, mentor on the lake, Euclid. They're gonna kill me if they ever see this.
They will, because I'll show up and I'll be. He was right. I mean, he wasn't wrong by any sense of the means. But I have a little challenge for the both of you, considering that we're talking about sports, we're talking about soccer, but we're talking about food, everything like that. So I have planned a little game for us. We're going to play food draft.
Okay.
And Chef, I'm going to give you the first pick in the 2025 Inside the Game Chef Draft. Nate, I'll be courteous and give you the second pick, and I'll take the third.
Okay.
And then we're going to draft three. We're going to draft three chefs, or basically 3v3 soccer, just like the tournament they just had on ESPN that Pat McAfee had a team, and we saw that. So I want you to choose your top three chefs, and then Brian, honestly, if you can, I know you'll say, well, mine's better because it's going to be, but if you could give us a ranking of how we did based on what we know, because we're not going to know all that. We're not going to know the red leprechaun chef. We're not going to know who that is. We're going to go who we see. Okay. So, Nate, you and I are going to make informed decisions based on the Food Network.
Okay.
And Chef, you choose yours. And then at the end, we'll see which three stacks up the best. Fair?
I think I understand.
All right. So the first pick in the 2025 Inside the Game Chef Draft, Chef Brian Duffy, who do you have?
Let me make sure I understand. I'm choosing a chef.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're going to open up a restaurant. You're going to open up a restaurant, four walls.
That's a rough one.
I'm not going to make it easy on you.
Am I allowed to use my own name if I'm opening a restaurant?
If you think you're worthy of that first pick,
draft me
by all means.
Man, that's a really, okay, done, clear, absolutely. Michael Solomonov. You guys are like, wait, who's that? You know who he is?
The name sounds familiar.
He owns Zahav. He owns a group called Cookin' Solo. He is a multi-James Beard Award winner. He has opened some unbelievable restaurants, and the story behind him is mind-blowing. He actually has one of the number one restaurants in the country, and it's Israeli.
Okay.
Zahav.
All right. So
yeah, it's not matching the sport, but if I'm going chef, I mean, the guy's just a badass.
Okay.
All right,
Nate.
Yeah, am I too typical? Am I too?
You only can go with what you know.
Ramsay,
don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Gordon Ramsay. I feel like Gordon Ramsay. You know, I want him to call me an idiot sandwich. I feel like that would be a great experience. I want to get the Gordon Ramsay experience. I want to try and make something and then show it to him and just see how that goes. Not in an official capacity.
Your mother hates you. Your scallops are undercooked. Your mother hates you, and your father never wanted you.
I just wanted him to dismantle me once.
To be rated.
Just that one experience.
Right, so
I'll go with Gordon Ramsay.
The second pick in the Inside the Game 2025 Chef Draft goes to Nate Wangler, and it's Gordon Ramsay. All right.
Okay.
With the third pick in the Inside the Game 2025 Draft, I'm going with my hometown guy, Michael Simon.
Oh, come on. I mean, you know what? Can I change mine?
No.
You're right. What an awesome
I knew he was going to slip. He was number one on my board since I started this, and I'm like, if I can get through the first two, then I know I'm going to get him.
He's a quality human, man.
He's an awesome dude. He's not only a world-class chef, but he's just a great dude. He is the Midwest version of you, Chef Duffy.
Well, he's much more famous than I am.
Well, I mean, he's really, but I mean, he just his demeanor, the way he treats people, his ability to create just amazing food, whatever cuisine it is phenomenal. And if I've spoke with him via email before, if I could meet the guy, that's a bucket list thing, just like you. If we get to shake hands one day, that's what it is. But I'm going Michael Simon.
He's such a good dude. I've met him a couple of times, and of all the times that I've met him and done events with him and stuff like that, drank with him, he's just a quality human, man. There you go. Look, I've met Ramsay as well. Don't get me wrong; he's a very nice guy. The character that he plays on TV is awesome as well. Right. But he's actually a really nice guy. So, yeah.
All right. So, Chef, back to you. In the
So now
second
I got to
round,
pick
who's your
my
first second?
See, now that I know that we're going this direction, and I'm opening a restaurant with this person,
With all three.
with all three. Look, I'm going to go Bobby Flay, dude.
Oh, God. Dang it.
I'll say that easily. Look, I've worked with Bobby for years. I've beat Bobby Flay forever. I did Barbecue Brawl with them two seasons ago. He is the guy has been competing for 30 years.
Yeah, he's good.
And I'm going to tell you what, like watching the show, watching the judging process, being behind the scenes, knowing the culinary producers that are involved in all of the shows that they do, he doesn't have a leg up. He comes in swinging. Everybody jokes he's got his crispy rice. And look, when you win that much, you have to have some of your favorites that are going to be your staples. He's a quality. Look, I'm not a blow smoke up people's ass kind of guy. If I like somebody, I'm going to tell you he's a good dude and he's a competitor, man. He's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
30 years on TV. Okay, grilling and chilling, beat Bobby Flay, backyards, like all that stuff that he's done. What was the one show that he had where he would show up in your backyard?
Wasn't it Backyard with Bobby Flay or something like that?
It was something to that effect.
Yeah.
Like throwdown.
Throwdown. Yes. There.
The guy's a competitor, and
Good
he
call.
was my captain on my team when I did Barbecue Brawl until I got the shaft and got switched over to another team with a much lesser captain. And he's a badass. He really knows what he's doing. He picks by strength and he puts good food out. That's my second. He should have been my first, but he's my second.
Hey, I mean, you're 1 and 2. You got good picks. All right, Nate, you're up. Second round pick.
It's interesting, and I think he meant to say Julia Child, but Peter actually put this up there, and the late Julia Child actually died back in 2004. But it's interesting because she was really innovative with the way that she approached food and culinary. She's one of those OGs, I guess you would put in there. So I think she's another good selection. And in terms of someone who born in 1912. I mean, she was doing a lot of what she was doing like way back, like during World War II and stuff. Like she was really starting to branch out and do different stuff. I think she would be great in terms of someone that one of the originals, so to have her and Gordon Ramsay on the same team, I bet we could come up with some good stuff. So I'm going to throw her in the mix. She's my second choice there.
She's a winner.
I mean, she was kind of the, gosh, what would you call it? The new Rockney, the Vince Lombardi.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
It's kind of the precipice, that first blueprint when it was drawn, and it was Julia Childs who said, all right, here's how we're going to start this whole cooking on TV process.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Maybe brought it mainstream in a lot of ways. So she'll be my second choice.
All right.
She was one of the OGs, man.
Now I'm scared because of what you said about the backyard barbecue thing getting switched to a different team. So I hope that the next person I say isn't someone who rubbed you the wrong way. But for my second pick, I'm going Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe.
Okay, no, that's a given. That's good. Yeah, absolutely. And that's not the person that I was talking about. I won't publicly mention that person, but it's pretty easy to figure out. They would never be on my team.
All right. So, and we'll go back. Third and final pick, Chef Duffy.
I should have been more prepared for this.
No one was ready for it.
I know. Maybe if I got an email earlier than this morning, I was throwing you under the bus on that one again.
Again? Jeez.
Okay. My next, I love what you said. Like I'm Simon, man. I'm pissed I missed that first round on that.
You did. So you can't take them now. I don't care. If
you know who I'm going with?
Not. You don't get it.
I am very straightforward going to go with a guy named Nick Liberato. If you guys know Nick Liberato, he was on Bar Rescue. He was on he had a show called Restaurants on the Edge on Netflix. He is one of the hardest working guys that I know. So if I'm going to be opening a restaurant and I've got Michael Solomonov and that creativity and that drive, Bobby Flay and that ability to be very direct and very focused on a competition to get it done, and Nick Liberato to be working his ass off the way he does, that's my top three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nate.
I don't know if the name's already been mentioned. Rick Bayless, somewhere in there, specializing in traditional Mexican cuisine.
Skip brother, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I love me some Mexican food, man. Like in the traditional stuff, and like when you go down south, you were talking about down south the other day, Natale. Like, not only do you get some of the best seafood in the United States, and that would make it much easier for me to move down there. Again, the palmetto bugs. I never want to see another one ever in my life.
Yeah,
but if I have to, sacrifice
Florida,
that,
or are you talking South?
Well, South, I guess South has different meanings, right? So, like, but I've been to Texas, like I've been deep into Texas. Like, I'm talking Laredo. Like, you pick up a stone and you can hit Mexico just across the way. Like, the Mexican food, the traditional Mexican food down there is just different. And it's different when you have it. So, because of his specialty in that space, I want him on my team because I know he would make some bomb stuff in that regard. So, anyways, Texas was exceptional.
He's an awesome dude, and his Godfather-like ability to kind of bring you in and make you feel comfortable with what he's cooking is such an awesome thing. He's a very, very sweet man. And and I know that's kind of weird to say, but when you talk about people that are on TV, where'd John go? He took off?
I think he's getting reconnected here. Maybe he's got some Wi-Fi stuff going on.
He's like, these guys are winning right now. He's got Bobby Flay. We're going in. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. All right. Back from the grave.
Goodness gracious. That's the last thing I needed in this bombardment.
Rick Bayless, that's a quality pick, my friend. I'll tell you that right off the bat, on a human level and on a chef level. And I agree with you. His respect for Mexican cuisine, for the Latin flavors as a white man, which he gets shit for because he's a white guy and he cooks that way. Like, I do a lot of Latin cooking, man. I love the flavors, the techniques, the styles, anything that's being done in a very peasant way. I love that. That makes me very proud. Good pick.
Thank you.
Look, I'm in the middle now. What's up, boys?
Yeah, so that's why I don't like this. We got to put my man in the middle. So I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm just going to try to throw some different cuisine in here, but also a guy that has succeeded at just starting his own things and expanding it and doing a lot of the. To me, when I hear the word fusion, Chef Duffy, this guy, it's like another epitome thing. Like, when I think of guys who have gone through that fusion thing and made it successful, I think you've been in the world just like truffle oil. That everything's fusion, rice, Chips Ahoy, and chocolate cake fusion. Doesn't throw fusion at the end, doesn't make it good.
Right.
But I'm going with Jet Tila.
Man, he is a quality individual, and he can throw down some food, man. I have a company called World Chef and Yum Crunch with my brothers, and Jet. We did a couple of boxes with Jet. And I've met him in multiple occasions. He's a really nice guy who just keeps plugging along.
Yep.
He's not in your face, but you know exactly who he is when you say the name. And he's a quality chef. He makes great food, man. Makes really, really good food.
All right. So as we wrap up here, and again, Chef Brian Duffy, chefbrianduffy.com. Nate and I cannot thank you enough for this. Has been fat. I'm sure that we could go on for another hour and a half if we needed to. But excellent for, make sure that you go to chefbrianduffy.com, look at all the different projects he had. Make sure you check out the charity that he works for with the autism. That's a beautiful thing. And check out his social media as well. So in closing, Chef, you've got Solomonov, Bobby Flay, and Nick Liberato.
Liberato.
Liberato. I'm sorry.
Nobody gets his name right. It's the worst thing.
That's all right. So you got those three. Nate's got Ramsey, Childs, and Rick Bayless, and I've got Simon, Lampy, and Tila.
Yeah. So basically, I think Nate is opening a breakfast place.
I'm all for it.
You got some old heads in there.
Let's go. Let's get to work.
John, you've got you're rolling late night with some stuff, and I'm crushing through the whole day. So I love it. All right.
Well,
good. So they stop at mine, and then they stop. That's so they could. Yeah, exactly. They'll make a whole.
They'll take a nap. They'll head over to my late place joint, but then
break in between
every other hour during the day.
Yeah,
they're going to La Cuisine de Duffy.
Yeah.
All right, Nate, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you guys jumping on again. Chef Brian Duffy, check him out on social media. I'm sure we'll have you back on here at some point. We got to hit you up. We got to come down to Philly and get the full Philly experience.
Yeah, I'd love to see you guys. And anytime you guys want to talk food, I'm always here for you. John, you've got my number. I appreciate you calling me out again and making this happen. And I'd love to hop on with you guys anytime, man. Big fan.
That's the chef. Episode 107 coming up tomorrow. Have a great day, guys.
Cheers, guys.